It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job. We are your podcast for relevant and relatable conversations with contractors, hopefully bringing a little bit of entertainment to you as well. Today is episode 80. My name is Mike. That's Brian.
Yo.
Our guest today is Nick Ramirez, president of Just Contents. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing well. How are you gentlemen doing?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Appreciate you coming in and taking the time with us today.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. So kind of how we get these started, if you could, give us a little history, how you got started in this industry and the road to where you are now.
Okay.
As president.
So basically, how I got started in the industry is we used to receive this paper. I don't know if you did receive it in the Orange County area. It was called Penny Saver.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I applied to an ad in the Penny Saver probably over 20 years ago, and the headlining basically said, "Driver, mover, $15 an hour. Send H6 along with your resume." So I faxed that in. Couple days later,
by the way, faxed.
Faxed it in. A couple days later, received a phone call for an interview. Came in, got hired as a driver in the business. Started in a local business in the San Gabriel Valley. That's still in business today as a family-owned business. So I applied for an ad in that paper, got hired, and started becoming a driver in the industry. Started moving furniture. Driving people's personal property around.
And was it for a contents kind of restoration company that you guys were doing it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was just a contents business. That's the only field that I've specialized in my whole career. But yeah, it was a driving business. I started in there and then moved on into a warehouse position and then worked my way up into an estimator position in that same company. Went on to be a production supervisor for another company. He ended up selling, and he's the one that gave me the courage to go out on my own.
Wow.
So pretty much.
Awesome.
Very cool. And how long have you been on your own now?
I've been on my own just under 5 years now.
Okay. And how are things going? How's business? How are you guys doing, generating business right now?
Business is good. Obviously, this business is up and down, but we've been having a steady heartbeat since I opened the business.
Wow.
Yep, we've been able to keep our heads way above water.
Very cool. And so you guys are just doing residential stuff, I would imagine. Where are you getting a lot of your business from?
We get a lot of our business from basically, obviously, insurance companies. Insurance companies. Mainly insurance companies, contractors, lawyers, things of that nature.
Wow. And so you guys are going in and how often are you actually going in and having to remove everything and take it to a warehouse to do it versus kind of doing things on site? If that's a stupid question, this business is far beyond what I've ever understood. So,
well, our business just specializes in contents, right? So if we're having to remove something to the house, something's significantly wrong, right? They need to have something done.
Right.
So generally, if we're going to a house, 8 out of 10 jobs needing a pack out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
Yep.
What's your labor force look like? How many of you guys do you have working for you? That
I have 30 to anywhere from 32 full-time employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so where are you? Something that and maybe it's a little bit different, right? We tend to speak to, I don't want to say the typical contractor, but like the hammer and nail and tool guys. But where are you seeing? I say that because they seem to have some sort of there's a labor shortage, if you will, or skilled labor. Are you seeing the same kind of thing in your industry with the employees that you're looking for?
We are. I mean, the field that we're in is so specialized that you can't just pick up anybody. So that was one of the key factors of why I wanted to open my own business, if I can secure the right type of people.
Yeah.
So that was the key factor for me, is kind of making that move to the people before I actually, because it's none of this is possible without good people.
No, for sure.
So what does that process look like in terms of finding and sniffing out that right person?
What are you looking for, and how are you bringing them on?
Well, basically, it's people that just have general experience in the field that we're in. Because essentially, in a nutshell, at the end of the day, we're essentially just movers if you look at it essentially that way, right? So we want somebody that just has some packing or even some sales experience, right? But for the most part, you're not going to find anybody that's rarely in this field. So if we take them, we like to mold them and build them. If we find somebody that we can put some time and some effort into, yeah.
So are you guys, I guess maybe help me understand the business a little bit more. Are you guys just taking the content, just contents, right? I guess I might be answering my own question here, but are you just taking the contents out while the house is remediated, or are you guys actually, I don't know what the word might be, but helping refurbish the contents as well? Like if
if there's mold in
if they discover there's bad mold in the house, it's probably in the couches and some other things there. So are you doing the cleaning and restoration of those contents as well, or are you guys just the movers in and out for those contractors?
No, I'm a full service contents business. Yeah. So anything that we were called out for is what we're capable of doing the work for. Refinishing, reupholstery.
Yeah.
I have a 60,000 square foot facility that kind of borders the LA County, Orange County border. So everything's done in-house.
So do you have, on that, that's where I'm kind of going with this is, do you have kind of two different subsets of employees, ones that do the packing and then ones that do the refurbishing and remediation, or is that, are your employees kind of skilled in both?
The only two people that are separated is the people that handle the contents and the dry cleaning. So the same people that are on the content side do the remediation, the packing. That's the only thing
they do all of it, right?
Specialize in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. And what is it typically, just from a timeline standpoint, how long does it typically take you to do like a house full of stuff?
So like here's for instance. So yesterday we were working at a job in Indio.
Okay.
Generally it would take 2 days with the crew of 3 women, 3 men. Women generally pack all the bric-a-brac. Men will come in and move all the heavy stuff, tables, things of that nature.
Do you do that on purpose just because they have a little bit more finesse and care?
We just don't. It kind of looks funny. I mean, not saying that women can't move the refrigerators.
Right, but if they're,
But, what's it going to look like if you pull up to your house and you see 6 women moving a refrigerator versus... So that's the only reason why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not saying that they can't.
Yeah, no, an optics
because we have somebody that can. It just doesn't...
Yeah.
So that's the reason. So we have this job. It takes 2 days. So it's in Indio. So instead of running it for 2 days, we just piled up all the people for 1 day, which would be about 8 people to complete that in 1 day. So we don't have to keep running to Indio.
Wow.
Yeah, that is quite a drive, especially out from Buena
So how far out are you guys servicing? I mean, obviously you said you're in North Orange County and you're all the way out in Indio. Is that kind of the...
So the difference between my business and like say most business in the insurance industry, their business is based on getting their business from, let's say, vendors list or things of that nature. My business is 100% referral only. So our business is based on word of mouth, people we worked with in the past, things of that nature. I generally don't per se do insurance company list.
Yeah,
I'm not against them.
Yeah.
It's not against them. It's just that we are a true third-party restoration company.
Which is why you want to have your hand in terms of who you're hiring, because if you can find the person with the integrity and the character and the hard work ethic, that will translate to future business in terms of referrals. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's golden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you guys are working, I would imagine a lot of your business then from that is coming from contractors, right, who are doing the remediation.
Actually, a lot of it's coming from insurance companies and adjusters themselves.
Who know you and know what kind of work you can do. And
from the years over the past. Because I also, my main goal is I specialize in high net worth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's mainly where we focus majority of our business. But we do all types of claims as well. It's just that we're really well at doing high net worth claims. Yeah,
I imagine probably the amount of requests from that type of client is probably a lot different than what you would have with just a regular, $60,000 a year job, living in a 2,000 square foot home. That being said, are you guys signing NDAs when you're doing kind of some of these higher net worth individuals in their homes, or what's the process that's different than maybe most remediation groups that are coming into some of these normal type, I guess you should say.
Yeah.
Well,
clients.
I could say in my 20 years, I've only signed 2 non-disclosures.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Right?
Really?
But for the most part, all our claims are handled the same. So if I'm doing a 2,000 square foot home versus a 20,000 square foot home, all our people are trained to do it the same. So we don't train them to say, oh, don't touch that because that's a Picasso.
Right.
We want them to touch everything like it is a Picasso.
Right.
So they don't know the difference. And when they get into these high network jobs, they're not like, oh, we can't touch.
They're almost too scared to do
Yeah.
their job at that point,
It's
right?
actually
Because
Because they don't know. We train them to. Your job is not to determine what this is. That's somebody else's job.
Right.
Your job is to pack it accordingly.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's smart. I mean, obviously, then you got people that are, doing what they need to be doing on every job and being smart about it.
Generally, if we're coming into a high net worth claim, is because we were referred by or know somebody in that community that's referring us. So we're not like advertising where we're saying, hey, we're doing all these high net worth claims. Look at all our NDAs.
Right,
No,
right.
we're not. Most of our customers that we do that are high net worth are more than willing to go on and give us a video testimonial.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Years ago, I sat in on a lunch with Pete Carroll, who at the time was the head coach for USC football, and I know he went through a bunch of stuff. But that being said, there was a question that was raised. It was kind of like, well, what about this upcoming game? And it was kind of I think it was a cream puff. It was somebody that wasn't very good, And the following week was a bigger team, right? So it was like maybe it was Notre Dame or whatever at the time. They're like, what are you looking in terms of Notre Dame in a couple weeks? And he said, no, that's not how we do it. We look internally. So we have the best, we view ourselves as having the absolute best team in the nation. And so we train and we practice against our guys, and we'll create a plan for each team, but we're not going to look ahead. We're going to create a program where our guys are training against one another, so that when we get to the point where we either play a team that's not so great or the best team in the nation, we're still uniform in terms of what we do. And it sounds a lot that mentality in terms of what he was saying kind of translates to what you're doing, right? You're hiring the best guys. They have, like I said before, that hard work, that ethic that's there. But at the same time, whether or not it's the $20 million home or the $500,000 or $200,000 home, right? They have that mentality of like, as long as we keep it within and we work hard with what we know we could do, that will translate whether to bigger business, whatever. But that sounds like probably why a lot of these guys are referring business to you, because it's like these guys are the best. And, yeah.
I mean, there's some other companies that are really good out there. It's just how they handle their business and what they choose to do with the players that they have.
Yeah.
I have a gentleman that works with me, which he was actually the gentleman that trained me in the business, which now works with me now. But he's been in the business, I think, 35 years now. But by bringing in the best people that I can get, hands down, the best people in the business is what makes me better than the next company. We all have access to the same technology. You can go out and buy everything that I have. It's just how I choose to use those tools.
Yeah.
Right.
So kind of on that, I have to imagine turnover is probably, something that you want to avoid as much as possible, especially in your industry, right? Because you are so specialized and there is so much hands-on that results in your end product. But what are you doing to retain the employees that you have, to make sure that turnover is as low as it can be, and you're not having to retrain people all the time?
Well, what first thing as owners want to do is they want to come in and be a dictator, right? They want to come in and be like, hey, this you're doing. So the thing of it is when I opened my business, there's things that I absolutely did not want to do, right? And I don't want to treat people like crap. Like, we might have gotten treated like crap by our other owner in the past.
Right.
Might or might not have, right? So things like that is you never want to belittle the people. You never want to treat them like crap. Things like that, right? So that's what I do is everybody has a voice. If people don't get along, that person has to go, because we're essentially a family and we all need to get along.
Yeah, and there's got to be a lot of teamwork involved in what you guys do in orchestrating something, a full pack out, and then.
So the only thing different that I do from maybe the next owner is like all my employees take the company vehicles home. They all have cell phones, and they don't have to come in the plant in the morning and then huddle up and then where are we going for the day? None of that. They load up the night before, or supplies are brought out to them. They take their vehicles home. The person picks up that person in the morning. They all meet at a spot, and they leave from home to their job site. We dictate everything through cell phones, through apps. So our people I very rarely even see my employees. They come to the office maybe a couple times a week, but for the most part, the only ones that we see are the guys that are bringing the furniture in and out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you being a little bit more efficient that way, right? Not having to bring everybody in.
And I make them take vacations. No, I'm serious. Like,
sometimes you have to.
I heard last year on the radio they were saying it was like Coast 103.5, right? It was like one of those Christmas time little trivia things, and the question was posed that whoever called in with the right answer won some prize. And the question was, what's the most stressful thing to ask for from your boss? And so everybody had something to say, but the answer was asking for vacation time. They don't want to ask for vacation time because they're concerned what the boss is going to think. Are they, that's cool that you actually make them do that.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody needs, and I tell them, you got to take your vacation time, and they always want to just work and get paid.
Get paid, yeah.
But I'm like, no, you guys, you got to take it off. That's one thing that the gentleman that works with me, Brian, that trained me, he's like, never take your work home. Never, because that just starts affecting your family.
Yeah.
So if you don't take time to be with whoever it is that makes you happy, you're never going to be happy at work.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great. What are some of the, daily hurdles, daily things you guys have to, objections that you have to kind of get through? Maybe not daily, but some of the most common ones.
Well, in our industry, my industry, dealing with personal property, it's going to be the most hurdle is always the breakage, right? And if people tell you that they don't break stuff, they're lying.
Yeah,
they're lying. Everybody breaks stuff. So that's the biggest hurdle is just keeping in control of what gets broke, what gets fixed, what gets this and what gets that. So that's pretty that. And then obviously emotions from employees. You're dealing with X amount of people. You're going to have different amount of emotions and feelings you're going to deal with daily. Right. But other than that, it's pretty much, it runs itself in a sense, if you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the packing side, in terms of breaking and all that, do you guys have a specific system that you utilize to, I don't know if this is true or not. I heard this years ago that there was like specific packing styles that were better than others to keep breakage at a minimal. Is that true?
Yeah. So like say for instance, if this table, for instance, had a marble top, you're not going to want to pick up the marble top and hold it flat because it's going to kind of do this and bop in the middle.
Yeah.
So if you're lifting marble, you want to lift it up and turn it on its side. So inexperienced people might carry it like this versus like this, things of that nature. You don't want to put 50 books in a box and have the whole bottom fall out and then stack the crystal on the bottom and then throw your grandma's encyclopedias on top. So it's just being aware of what you're packing, stuff like that. Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys is there a training process that you have your employees go through, or is it just kind of I guess what I'm saying is there a dictated or a written training process, or is it, hey, follow this guy for a certain number of weeks, to kind of learn those things? How do you guys?
Well, we've never really had to train anybody recently, over several years, but for the most part, everybody has been in the business. But if we do, it might be follow this person for a little bit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, people have the experience already. That's what we're going after. If I see one specific person at a company that might be a good player, we'll go do what we have to try to get that person to bring them to work with us.
So yeah, you guys are out actively looking for people versus just kind of putting ads out and letting people come to you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't generally put ads out. It's either somebody has to know somebody, or generally it's somebody that's worked at another company that has experience that we can take and learn. But some of the best people that we've gotten had no experience in some parts of some aspect of what they're doing.
And they're just following people
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what does your management team look like? What kind of structure do you guys have, and what's that decision making process when you guys have things to that you have to make decisions on? Yeah.
So it's kind of ran a little different again. We really don't per se have managers, right? So there's myself, and there's a gentleman that works with me, or as you would be, whatever the term might be. It was a colleague, Brian. It's the gentleman that trained me in the business. right? So he is what we call the lead estimator. Myself and Brian essentially do the same jobs. We go out, meet with the customers, answer any questions or concerns they might have, present an estimate, deal with the insurance company, that nature, right? And then once we get the job or determine to start a job, then it'll be turned over to like a field staff, which will be our lead girls. We're actually the ladies that take the vehicles home. They'll go to the job sites, start the jobs, and then we have 2 warehouse managers that manage the intake of all that stuff. But that's pretty much, there's really no managers nobody barking orders.
Right.
Everybody knows what they need to do.
So it sounds like you just have a team that knows their roles and everybody kind of operates inside that structure.
Yeah, it almost sounds like too good to be true, but that's really, really what happens. I couldn't even honestly tell you the last time I had to bring up a concern with the employees.
Going back to, I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but if you do the work on the front end to find the right person for the job, and then they, as opposed to just bringing on anybody or, throwing the net out and then trying to figure it out on the backside, I feel like if you do all the work on the front side, you're actually benefiting as a result as an employer and everybody else that's working for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just let them do. I mean, I don't hire them so I can just tell them what to do all day. I tell them I hire you to do your job.
Right.
And if things happen, you might screw up or something. It happens. Just deal with it and move on.
Yeah.
That's just ultimately what it comes down to. And our customers are happy because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters is having happy employees and happy customers.
So are you guys, from a visual standpoint, are you in front of the homeowners, or do you work through, the insurance company or a general contractor or somebody else? Are you, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you guys have visibility with the homeowner? Do they know who you are, I guess?
Yes.
Okay.
It's mandatory. Brian or myself will go out, meet with the homeowner, and it'll be their point of contact for the job.
That way you're not losing things in a game of telephone between...
And we might bring our lead person that's going to run the job just to shadow us so they can say, hey, all right,
he'll be here for these days or whatever.
And they'll just be jotting down some notes while we're talking what that customer doesn't want because they don't want to have to say it twice or whatever it might be.
Right, right. No, and I have to imagine that going back to kind of like, one of those issues of breaking things or whatever, I mean, what's your process like with the homeowner? I probably know the answer to this, but just so people can hear it. I mean, I have to imagine you guys are pretty, forthcoming and truthful and honest and transparent about a lot of those things, and not only up front, but when they do happen, to kind of maintain that good relationship, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be honest on what happened. If you broke it, you broke it.
Right.
So if you try to hide it, it's just going to make things absolutely worse. So we bring it right to them and say, listen, it got broke. We can fix it. And in most cases, they're absolutely fine. Just fix it and reach. The things that get broken are like, let's say like a chip plate that was in a curio cabinet.
Yeah.
They might have slid a table and it caught a blanket and it chipped a little piece of the leg. Something like that, a piece of marble. But it's not for the most part where we're shattering glass tops. It's just little odds and ends that had a chip in the...
It's enough to be like, if they saw it and you didn't report it, they would start to suspect you guys and would create... it's always better to be up front and say, hey, listen,
And in most cases, the photos that we take show that the stuff was damaged prior to the case.
Right.
So you guys are taking pictures, obviously, right? Probably just to cover your ass, right? Take pictures of everything before you...
Yeah, that's what Brian or myself will do. We come out, we'll photo the whole house when we initially do the walkthrough, and then it's photoed again when we inventory, and then they're pointing out any nicks or scratches or damages in the inventory. Especially when we're doing it with high net worth, you absolutely want to be on
super particular about that stuff. Yeah, for sure. So what? I guess where are you guys headed? What's the end goal for you guys, or what's the next 3 to 5 years look like for you?
Well, I'm also, on top of the contents business that I have, I actually expanded into dry cleaning businesses.
Well, I guess it kind of fits, right?
It does, yeah. So for over the years, we were just subbing it out to the local dry cleaning franchises, and I secured the entire job anyways. So it made more sense for me to invest the money into the dry cleaning business than to keep subbing it out.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what I did. So the only thing that's different from our plant versus anybody else's is everything's under one location.
Instead of, because I like
More
a lot
control.
of, yeah.
So our dry cleaning plant is dedicated to one section of the warehouse, and then the contents, the cleaning stations, and whatnot.
Are you only doing work for yourself, or do you guys actually dry clean for other people now too?
No, for the most parts, it's only our stuff is what keeps us busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And we can keep a control on what we're doing. So I started one dry cleaning business, and then I bought another dry cleaning franchise, which was the only one on the West Coast, which I'm starting to do that side as well.
Like outside business through that one? Is that what you're saying?
Through insurance company vendors list through that side of the dry cleaning. Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. I want to kind of go back. You had mentioned before when we were talking about some of the hurdles that you guys face. You mentioned like breakage, but then also emotions of employees and things like that. And employees obviously being probably the biggest investment that you have in your business. What are the steps that you take, or what maybe some examples? I know it's probably you can't give away specifics, but some examples of things that have happened in the past and how you guys have helped overcome that. A lot of the people that are listening are business owners, and they have to deal with what you have to deal with on a daily basis, especially with their employees. But what are you guys doing that you think might be better than really anybody else is doing from, I don't know if it's like a counseling thing or are you just bringing them in and hearing them out? How are you getting through that to them and working through those problems?
Well, us as business owners or people in management have to find what makes people tick and then go after that and then build them up from there.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get anywhere by kicking the employee down.
Barking orders at them.
Yeah. Because what they're going to be like, F that guy as soon as you leave the room, right?
Yeah.
So I always try to build up within, no matter who's in the company has an opportunity to step up to the plate if they want to.
Yeah.
But that comes with responsibility. So what it is, just to answer your question, is to encourage people. Basically, that's the best thing you can do, is encourage them, to give them the strength to do other things they generally wouldn't.
Now, is that you and Brian that are doing that, or is that you? Is that your particular
Brian and
role?
myself,
Okay.
yeah. Brian and myself. Brian, I really value what Brian says.
Yeah.
Although Brian is not an owner, he is an employee, but I run everything by Brian out of...
But he's kind of like a mentor, right?
He is. He always has been.
Yeah.
Yep. He always has been.
It sounds like you guys are kind of on the same page then in terms of that. Like you took a lot of what he... So I assume that's kind of where he's at. That's very cool.
Yeah, Brian's a little more on the mellow side.
Yeah.
Brian's like the one where the employees will always want to come to, because Brian's always like, yes, which is
a good cop.
Yeah, exactly. That's the term he uses. We're going to play good cop, bad cop. Exactly. That's the term he uses.
Does that mean you have to be the bad cop then?
I'm the bad
He
cop.
says that because he can be the good cop. That's awesome.
That's funny. Well, I think unless you got anything else you want to share with us, or anything else
No.
you want to, well then let's make sure we get you how the people can find you.
Yeah.
How they can get a hold of you and
Websites, any social media, anything like that.
They can find me on LinkedIn, and they can find us at www.justcontents.com.
Very
cool. Are you guys doing any kind of, I guess probably I should ask you this a little bit ago, but it kind of, I had it at one point and then it slipped, but marketing is one thing we like to talk about all the time too. Are you guys doing any kind of digital marketing or anything? You have any kind of presence online or anything? We're always just trying to get some, feedback from some of that, especially in this contractor space. It's not something that is done very often or very well most of the time. We're just kind of curious.
Actually, the only marketing that we do is just our face-to-face people that we know, and it's basically just word of mouth. Yeah. I don't have a marketing budget that I put online, nothing like that. All our business is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do a good enough job and people keep
people
referring you, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you just doing a good enough job.
Well, his marketing is his people.
Yeah.
He puts his money and all that into his people, and the people actually do a really, really good job.
Your soldiers
They're always
out there.
gonna come back.
Yeah. It's all on the people.
Yeah.
People, if you don't spend the money on the people, then you're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
Are you guys gearing up to try and do some smoke rehab on all these houses for all these fires and stuff
Actually,
lately?
I was actually this morning. I had a phone conference. I need to put together a deployment plan because they want to see if I can go up north to the Oregon, Northern California areas to assist with some of the fires up there. But the problem is we're steady busy down here.
Yeah.
And I don't like to use temporary people. So it's
especially if you don't control, what they know.
That's the whole key is you got to keep control. Most people will get these jobs, but
and
go
then
and bring
find out random people.
They see dollar signs and then
they bring 50 temporary people in with shirts and then wonder why they're losing it out the yin yang because they just seeing dollar signs instead of going at it right and really raking in the money.
Yep. Well, very cool, man. We appreciate you coming in, Nick. Thanks so much. And make sure you keep in touch and stay safe.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nick.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.